Hello and welcome! I have a very exciting video for you today because in today's video we will be using this handmade for me custom wood palette with QoR paints in it and see if we can still continue to use it like we did previously on this sketchbook spread with a big brush or whatever brush size we choose. And is this enough mixing space? What will we create? And this is the second to last thing I have to finish in this entire sketchbook before it is completely filled in. That is very exciting. The very first time I tried out this palette, this is the painting that I did with that, and I told you guys that if I changed anything on this painting, which I thought I probably would change a couple of things, that I would let you know, and I haven't yet, but I will be changing just one thing on this painting that is bugging me, and then we'll do a brand new painting on this half. It'll be so much fun. And I'm going to be using my PBO drawing gum, which is masking fluid or frisket or whatever you would like to call it, and I like to use this rubber or silicone applicator. It doesn't get really fine points easily. You can, but it is kind of hard to get the masking fluid to run down to that fine point. So using an old brush that's really thin that you can sacrifice to masking fluid might be a good idea in the future. I've gotten away with this for years and I'll probably still just continue to use it, but sometimes I think a small brush when these really fine areas need masking fluid might be easier. Anyway, you can see I have a lantern. Hopefully you can see I have a lantern drawn on there. And my friend in South Dakota, she took a picture of this old lantern hanging on old barnwood, and she let me use it for a painting reference. In fact, she said, "You need to paint this," and she sent it to me, which was great. So finally, I've gotten around to that. She gave that to me several years ago. And the brushes I've pulled out to use are my Winsor & Newton Cotman round size 10 and my Royal Inling Nickel round size 6. We'll see if I have to pull out another brush later or not. And there is a very light undertone in the reference photo, so I am going to make a light mixture color for that and try and get a base coat of that down in a few places. And you can see that big brush goes right into that palette, those palette holes, no problem. And I have used an even bigger brush with that, I believe I did anyway. We'll have to double check the video when I did the painting that you see just to the left, because I used this same wood palette when I did that painting. And it seemed like I may have pulled out my round 12 instead of my 10, but I don't remember. One thing I wish I would have done differently is I wish I would have taken the time and masked off the entire lantern, even though the lantern has some dark colors in it, and I thought if I get this background paint over it, it won't be a big deal. It would have been a lot easier just to mask off the whole thing. And I'm using indigo now. That indigo is the only dark color other than the dark brown right next to it that I put in this palette. So it's actually perfect for this photo. This photo has a lot of blue in the wood, so it's really ideal that my gray that I chose, it's not a gray exactly, but the gray that I chose for this palette was an indigo instead of a Payne's gray. I would like to change a few things about this palette, but I will be telling you guys about that in an upcoming video because there's a whole lot I have to say about this little palette and all kinds of exciting things. So it's, yeah, if I did that all together in this video, we'd have a very long video. And I like to use some dry brushing techniques when I'm doing old wood like this. So when I have a fresh bit of paint in my brush, I do the darker spots, and then as I lose the moisture out of the brush, then I can swipe it over this paper, particularly this Etchr paper. It's quite rough and very absorbent, so you get a dry brush pretty quickly, and you can see how it just makes those speckled dots, and it's just fun. It's fun, and you can force your brush to be dry right from the beginning by dabbing it on paper towels or rags, so you don't have to just go over your dark spots before your brush gets dry. You can just start out that way, but I don't like to waste my paint, so I try and find places I can use that pure paint and then spread it out in the dry brushing technique. And it's kind of fun to get in your really dark darks, at least start mapping them out, because it gives my mind a roadmap. And it helps me finish the entire painting and makes me feel better about my painting as I'm going along. So I switched to my smaller size 6 brush and I just continue to map in those dark areas, and eventually here I will start adding in some of the burnt sienna or just more warmer colors to bring in that extra color depth that the picture shows. And working around that lantern was a huge pain in the butt, so definitely mask off your whole lantern if you try that. But there you can see I brought in some warmer colors, putting in some knots, some nails, just refining the dark areas and making it very fun before I start on the lantern itself. Now the colors for the lantern were super fun to try and not match, so to speak, but to get something that looked like rust. So I did use a little bit of my burnt sienna, that darkest brown color, which was Van Dyke brown, and the reds. I have a little bit of Quin Magenta and the cadmium red medium in there. I put a tiny bit of permanent scarlet in there at first, but then after that I just kept with the cadmium red medium, the Quin Magenta, the brown, and the indigo. So by adding the indigo in there, it basically created that purpley red color that I thought was perfect for this. And what you saw me do on the left side of the lantern there was add just a light coat of, it was ultramarine blue, but I mixed it up in that upper mixing well and had some red in it. So it ended up being a really light purple, just to kind of as a background color. That lantern has some really pretty blue highlights showing through on the brightest parts of it. So I stuck that in the background a bit. And then you can see I switched to my smallest brush that I keep in my carrying travel case. And that one is a Mimic Kolinsky by Creative Mark. It's a round size 2, and it's okay. It's not my favorite. I did end up switching later to the Bestie Bushy round 2, which has a shorter, bushier round tip. But this one is really good when you need that really fine tip at the end. It's as close to a rigger or a liner that I have in my little travel case. And I'm not traveling, I'm here at home, but my travel case, because I have all my favorite brushes in it, just sits next to me on my desk when I'm home anyway, so I usually just pull my brushes out of there that I want to use. So I just add more indigo when I need this lantern color to be darker, and lighten it with some water, a little bit more red when I want it to be lighter. And I do like the burnt sienna mixture in there along with that cadmium red medium. It's a beautiful color, actually. Really helped brighten this up. And then I got to the point where I was ready to pull off the masking fluid. It's always fun to see, okay, how did my masking go? Did I do what I really needed to do? Did I mask what I really needed to? And what will it look like when it comes off? And I think I did a good job here, if I do say so myself. In other words, I was happy with what I had masked off. So I do realize later I need to darken some stuff, but I'll tell you about that when we get there. So you can see the masking fluid comes off, and I get these beautiful areas that now I can go refine with my small brush. And you can see by watching here that doing those refinements when you take your masking fluid off makes all the difference in the world. If you just left it like that, it would be wrong. Just wrong. You got to go in and change what you masked. And then I started pulling the tape off, and I see things I want to change. But here's the fun part, seeing how your crisp edges look, and almost a finished painting, except there's always things I want to change. Ta-da! I think I like mine better than the picture, except I need to add some dark back here so that the lantern sticks out more. Oh, I hate when I throw my brush. It's so dangerous. But yeah, that light spot there needs to be gone. Well, that was super fun. I always love painting old wood. It's so much fun. And the lantern was a fun challenge too. I haven't painted a rusty lantern. Oh, I didn't brush the salt off. Salt didn't do anything. It just made dark spots actually instead of light spots, which that's not a bad thing. I could probably come back in to my painting here and dot some of this dark indigo on for rust, basically. So there's still a lot I could probably alter with this if I chose to, but it's okay for now. Do some dry brushing over here. I like it the way it is. Except that's too stark white under there. See, I keep finding things, but anyway, I hope you guys had fun with me. I loved it. It was a very enjoyable painting experience again with QoR and the little palette, and I was going to tell you what I thought of the mixing space, and I've gotten by with it, but what I think I might do, hopefully it'll still close with the magnets, I might paint the wood with appliance white so that I can mix up here and here and here and here and everywhere else, because I did pull some of yellow off onto the side, and I've done that with the indigo. You can see I just pull some onto there to get a lighter dilution, so I'm not using it over here in my limited mixing space. So yeah, I think I'm going to spray paint this with my appliance white, and then maybe just paint around this, or do some kind of glossy acrylic paint, because this will require a paintbrush to paint around that. So I think I might try that. Not in this episode. I like that episode. Anyway, not in this episode, but in the future. This is fun. And QoR paints work really well for this because they're pretty strong, very strong pigments. So yeah, they work great. And then, oh, I almost forgot. You guys were gonna let me forget this painting here. I just wanted to change up here shouldn't be so bright. See, I'm out of mixing space because it is farther in the background. So I just wanted to dull that down a little bit. So having some pink and blues up there work great because I can get kind of a brown green. And then I just want to darken that right there. Yeah, like that. Ah, I forgot I had an edge there. That's all right. It's just a sketchbook. It's just a sketchbook. So I don't know if that's dark enough. That is not the right color. It's because I wasn't looking at my sheet, my cheat sheet. Get some red in the subject. Yeah, get a brown green. So I just thought it was too bright up there. Now, I'm very happy with that. Okay, that's all I wanted to change there. It might be kind of fun to bring some more of the clouds down, make it look a little stormy, except I've lost, I was gonna say I've lost my paintbrush to do that. I actually think I'm gonna take this huge brush and wet this down to the mountains, maybe through the mountains even. Trying to stay on that edge of the tape line just for fun, but I can't stop the water till like the tree line or at least the mountain line, or I'll have a weird hard edge. So I think I will bring a little bit of more of a stormy cloud up in that corner. I said I was done. I'm not done. I'm never done. So we have some maybe burnt sienna with indigo. Yeah, that's beautiful. So just darken this a bit up in that corner. And indigo is one of those that loves to finger out in QoR, which is so pretty. There, just darken that corner a bit. That's really pretty. Oh, and the how-to on this painting, because I recorded this one in real time, will be up on my Patreon site probably by the end of November. So I will show you how I painted that in real time, step by step, and it's kind of fun. So if you're interested in that and getting postcards from me every month, then definitely go check out my Patreon site. We have a lot of fun. We do live streams. Get to know each other even better over there. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. Now Jack is out. The sisters are so jealous because the boys are out.
His arm hair.
The boys are like, neener, neener.